Amanda from the Fundamental Home, and I'm here with the highly requested Rick. Yeah, he's
Hello.
here. So we're here today. We're talking about how we celebrate Halloween. And we thought first we would share with you how we have celebrated Halloween in the past. And I guess I'll start. Okay, when I was a kid, I did the whole normal Halloween thing. I did costumes every year, all the way up through even middle school, because I was part of a cheerleading squad in middle school, and that cheerleading, it was a football team, the whole association, they had a Halloween party every year, and one year my mother dressed up as Darth Vader and won the contest, the costume contest. Classic year. Anyway, so I had a fun mom. So anyway,
Vader.
when I was in school, we always had the thing with the Halloween party where everybody dresses up and does the little march around town. And every year we went to this one street down the road from where I lived in Maryland, and walked up and down that one street. And we had, when I was a kid, the one older lady who would give all the kids apples, and everybody had their apples when they went to school. But anyway, so it was a lot of good memories, a lot of good memories of the time. But you had it a little different, even though we're about the same age.
Right. Well, let me see. My dad, his family, they farmed when he was growing up. So that's where my dad lived. That's where I grew up. So we had almost no neighbors. I have an aunt who lived on the hill, and my uncle lived right beside us, and that was it. So we didn't really have the trick-or-treat
Experience.
Yeah, location spot. We had nowhere to go. Well, I had nowhere to go, but that's fine. I did also the public school trick-or-treating with the parade and the Halloween party, and in kindergarten I was Superman. I was Superman.
And I was Wonder Woman.
Yes. So in the evening, that was during school hours, so in the evening, when everyone else, I guess, was trick-or-treating after it got dark, I dressed up in my costume, and I would go over to my uncle's house, and he didn't have any children, so he really tried to, be a...
And Nuggets here.
Yeah, got a cat. And he tried to be really nice to me, and he would prepare a few bags of candy and such, and then we would hop in the car, and I had my mom's parents, my grandparents lived toward DC, and they had an apartment toward DC, and we would go there. So I had my trick-or-treating experience was 2 stops: my uncle beside us and my grandparents way down the road. So, but I had candy there, I had candy there, and I guess in a way I did the trick-or-treating thing. It just wasn't as big as a neighborhood.
Yep. So when we had kids, at first we kind of just did the same thing that everybody else did. Like we dressed them up and took them around. Okay, so when the boys were young, we grew up they grew up kind of in the town that I grew up in, and so they kind of had the same experience. I took them to the same street with the same older lady that had the apple, and they went to the same elementary school I did and walked around town in their little costumes at first. And then about the time Brianna was born was the time that we started changing. We started attending a church. I started attending a church that had a fall festival, and they dressed up as Bible characters. So about that time was about the time that I started kind of transitioning into kind of focusing my life more on Christ. And so we at first we did the Bible character thing with the fall festival. And at some point we just kind of thought, we just kind of want to get rid of the whole Halloween thing altogether. And it was just a decision that we made, that we were going to focus our efforts on the holidays that were mostly about Christ. And Halloween just isn't. That's just all there was to that.
Right.
So, but it wasn't that we were against costumes, because our church that we were in had a big vacation Bible school every year. Like huge, like bigger than any vacation Bible school you've probably ever seen. Like they built a castle inside their gym one year, and like everybody dressed up as lords and ladies with the big pointy hats and the tulle and all of that. And like one year they built a Wild West town, like a full-on Wild West town, and put on these little skits every night. And one year they built a whole pirate ship in the gym, and they filled the whole gym with sand.
Yes.
We were on the cleanup team.
Yep. It's hard to get sand off of a
Gym
gym floor. That took a while.
But
Few hours.
so anyway, for all those vacation Bible schools, they had these big, huge things every year, and so every year the kids would dress up for whatever the theme was for that vacation Bible school. So like the pirate ship one, they dressed up as pirate costumes, and for the Wild West one, it was Wild West costumes, and for the Lords and Ladies, it was Lords and Lady costumes. So anyway, it was every year there was like a week where they were dressing up in costumes. So they kind of had the experience of dressing up in costumes with their friends.
Yeah.
It just was at a different time of the year, and it was for a different focus. So it wasn't anything like that. So they kind of had that experience. And at first, our families were kind of wanted to make sure that they had candy, so they'd still buy candy and bring it to them. So it's not like they didn't have candy. But that was kind of another reason why we wanted to stay away from it, because when the kids were really little, I was so paranoid about them having good dental health that I was really, really stressed out about them having too much candy. So I still let them have candy, let's be real. But I didn't want it to be like bags of candy. So I was glad that they weren't getting too much. So anyway, so that's what we did with Halloween. How we've kind of transitioned from our past into our kids' current thing. And we've talked to them about it. They don't really feel like they're missing out on anything because they've really not done it over the past so many years. And since we've moved to a more rural area, it's not so big here, I don't think. It was different when we were in Maryland and there were lots of neighborhoods and it was like full of kids going around doing it. But here where we are, it's just a very small community. And
it's kind of like how I grew up now. We have a neighbor up the road. We have a neighbor right over here.
Kids don't knock on our door. And they haven't as long as we've lived here, even when we lived in a neighborhood. So it's just a little different kind of situation. So I don't think they feel left out because it's not really, it doesn't seem like it's a very big thing here. No. So, they just haven't felt left out of it. So, but we do something special on October 31st, which we won't call Halloween because it's just October 31st to us. I mean, it is Halloween out there, but I'm saying for us, we don't really celebrate the Halloween holiday. It's October 31st. So on October 31st, we do something because we're trying to get ready for a holiday that is centered on Christ, and that is, what is it?
Set me up again.
All right.
I'm sorry. I missed it.
Okay. All right, try again.
All right, go ahead.
That is.
No, sorry, the whole question. Go ahead. The whole
We're trying
statement.
to get ready for a holiday that is centered on Christ, and that is
Christmas.
Christmas. So on October 31st, we put up the
Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
There you go.
Yes, we put up the Christmas tree every year on October 31st. It doesn't mean that we get it fully decorated or anything. We just kind of get started on the holiday.
Yeah.
Rick has a very special thing that he does to put up the tree.
Yeah. Well, like some years we don't get it all up. Maybe I'll put the tree up on the 31st, and then throughout November I'll go. 1 week I'll put up the lights, and then a week or two later we'll start putting up the Christmas balls and things. And one year I think it took all the way to Christmas Eve. So from October 31st all the way to Christmas Eve, I was slowly putting up the Christmas tree. So I mean, we really stretched it out that year. But I think it all started when we were in Maryland. And the kids were young. They were very young. And I knew that folks were starting to go out trick-or-treating. And it just hit me.
We wanted to do something fun.
Yeah. And I thought, well, what's fun? And I thought, I like Christmas. So, so I turned on Bing Crosby. And we started putting up the tree. And it was funny because we lived in a neighborhood that, they're townhouses. So the sidewalk was right outside the front door, and you can hear people walking right outside your house, and they're knocking on doors all around the neighborhood. And I had every light on in the house, and I was playing Bing, and I was putting up the Christmas tree, stringing the lights, and it was such a good experience that I think we just continued it on after that.
Yeah.
And I know Thanksgiving is right after October 31st. So some people say, well, what about Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
And we still do Thanksgiving. Yeah. Thanksgiving is still big in our family. But for all these years now, Thanksgiving has included a Christmas tree, you know.
Yeah, well, to be fair though, when we lived in Maryland, we lived near his family.
Yeah.
And when we lived there, and the dogs are barking, but that's okay. When we lived there, we usually spent Thanksgiving with his family. And since we've been here in North Carolina, we really haven't had a full-on Thanksgiving tradition. But we'll talk about Thanksgiving on another video.
Right.
For this video, we just want to talk about October 31st and how we do and do not celebrate Halloween. So I will tell you about the Thanksgiving celebration, but how it's relevant here is that people always wonder about the tree up at Thanksgiving. Like I said, we don't really have a big Thanksgiving celebration here. So putting up the tree so early doesn't get in the way of anything, especially since we don't really fully decorate it. It's really almost never fully decorated until after Thanksgiving anyway. So this is just the beginning of the process. I want you to know we live way back out off the main road, and yet you can hear the sirens. I don't know what's going on. This always happens when we make a video. Something crazy is going on in the
Sirens,
background.
dogs.
Well, now that the sirens are going off, you can kind of hear the dogs in the background.
An hour ago, there were gunshots.
It's never boring.
Not violence, just people, just
Hunting.
yeah, yes. It's every Sunday, people, you know,
Anyway,
they celebrate Sundays with gunfire.
so the sun's getting harsh, and that's it. That's what we do on... That's what we do on Halloween. So, and the dogs are gonna really start barking now. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this up, but we should have a video that we're gonna make tomorrow of us putting up the Christmas tree. So be on the lookout for that, and it won't go up tomorrow, it'll go up the next day. So we'll have another video tomorrow. Anyway, we're gonna close this out, because it's just getting crazy over here, but we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.